Hello, everybody! I am making this review to compile and organize my thoughts and feelings toward Crossout. I have been playing the PC version of this game on and off, but mostly on since 2017. Before that, I played for about a year on console. Throughout all of that time, I never bothered to even listen to the main story or the plot of this game. I am strictly playing for the gameplay. This review will be focusing on the combat and the meta behind it. I will also briefly go over the building mechanics and aspects of the game, and how limiting the game is when it comes to new players versus veterans who have been playing this game for years. By no means am I making this to ruin your favorite game, or to sway your opinion on whether or not to try this game for yourself. It is free to play, so you have nothing to lose in trying it other than your time. If you like arena-based car combat, then this game might be for you. If you get FOMO easily or don't like constantly changing meta or mechanics in games, then I highly doubt that this game is for you. I will not be comparing Crossout to other games whatsoever, as any piece of media should be judged entirely on its own. With that, let's get started. When I first saw this game, it was at a friend's house. He always played the new and interesting games, and that day he was showing me Crossout. I remember him showing me all of the different parts and weapons and how you could customize your vehicle down to the very last part. And all I could think was, that seems like a whole bunch of work. Then he showed me the exhibition where everyone is allowed to post their creations. I asked him, what's the name of this game again? Because I want it. I played Crossout the next day, and all I did was look at builds on exhibition for hours. I have built a couple of builds that have turned out alright. One of my favorite builds was a melee build that had drones that would pop out and shoot grenades. Building was always my least favorite part of this game, since this game is mostly about getting resources to acquire new parts. The exhibition allows you to play the game, grind for new parts, while not having to worry about tweaking your build in the garage every other match. Unfortunately, the game does not advertise well that building is not mandatory. This game has a correct and an incorrect way of building. While building a vehicle, all of the frames branch off of the cabin. Moving parts are connected to the frames, such as wheels and hovers. There are also parts that allow 90% of the bullets to pass through them, making them great for mounting weapons. The game does not explain any of this to you and expects you to figure all of this out on your own. I've seen many players get very frustrated about their builds not lasting in combat long enough, yet not following these very simple rules. Most of the builds that you unlock or buy are not actually following these simple rules, and are borderline ineffective in combat. I do not know if any of the people working at Gaijin actually play the builds that are in their own game, as they seem to lack any knowledge of how to properly build. Finally, this game does not encourage creativity without paying. There once was a thriving art community in this game. I remember looking at all of the art builds when I first started playing. It seems as this game has gone on and more artistic paints and pieces are made but exclusive to specific events, the art community has stagnated. This is anti-creativity, as if you want to see what a decorative part looks like on your build, you have to buy it from the market. You have absolutely no ability to try out a part or view it on your build without having it in your inventory, which brings me to my next chapter. There are a couple of modes in Crossout that you play to get resources. One mode that has been missing since the game was first released is a creative mode, where you have access to every part and every piece. This way you can test out a part before you have to buy them. It is far too late to implement any mode like this, as they have already lost a large portion of their player base. So let's get into the actual modes that are in this game. The main mode that most people play is missions. In this mode, there are 2 teams of 8, and everyone gets a single life. Sometimes there is a base that you can capture to win right in the center. Sometimes there are 3 bases scattered across the map, and you have to capture 2 out of the 3. And sometimes there is an enemy and ally base at each spawn. A lot of these maps offer one of those 3 options. I would have liked to see much more variety, as playing the same couple maps in a row gets boring. If they had all of the different game modes for every single one of the maps, it would get stale less quickly. This mode has been around since the very beginning and originally offered basic parts if you won. Now it offers you basic resources for crafting and selling, and only offers a small fraction more if you win the match. You need to get a minimum amount of points to get the reward, regardless if your team wins or loses. This is not good, as a lot of people do not take missions seriously now, and a lot of players get frustrated because their team is not working together in this mode, when there is little to no incentive to do so due to the resource cap. There is also a patrol variety of this mode, where you go against a team of bots. You only get a fraction of the resources and do not get any extra rewards from having fuel tanks. I like that this mode is in the game, as some players prefer to only go PvE, and it's useful for getting challenges done. Clan Wars is a sweatier version of missions. In this mode, you have 2 teams of 4 and everyone gets 1 life, but everyone on your team has to be in the exact same clan. If you win in this mode, you can get the most expensive resource in the game. I have not played much of this mode, as it is taken very seriously and is not much fun. Every build is using the best parts and there is very little variation. Clan Wars is a timed event, so you can only participate for an hour at a time. They have Leviathan Clan Wars as well as regular Clan Wars. Leviathans are just builds that have 3 times the part limits and much more energy for weapons. In this mode, one player is the Levy. The next mode we will discuss is Raids. I no longer do raids as they are extremely repetitive and boring. Raids are PvE missions that get you different resources than missions. You and 3 other players have to complete an objective and everyone gets 1 extra free life. Then they have to pay for extra lives if they need them. There are always raids going on, but they cycle out the different missions every hour. You get 200 fuel per day, and the raids range from easy using 20 fuel, medium using 40 fuel, and hard using 60. You can get more fuel by putting a gas tank on your build in missions, but you have to survive with the gas tank intact to earn a whopping 10 fuel. Personally, I find raids extremely boring and no longer played them. On the other hand, some people only play raids and prefer to go against bots instead of humans. Next we have Awakening mode. This is an adventure, free roam, open map style of game mode. You join with 3 other players in exploring a vast landscape full of objectives that don't really give you that many resources. A lot of people like this mode and find it very relaxing. They used to give you a special resource in this mode for crafting unique weapons, but that is no longer a thing. In fact, they haven't updated or changed this mode in years. I wouldn't be surprised if this mode was removed, even though it has so much potential for teamwork as well as getting people to play for hours on end just driving around. Next is Bedlam. This mode gives no resources and is a free-for-all. You do not have limited lives and any power score or build is allowed. This mode is strictly for messing around and showing off creations to other players. I never got into this mode as you do not gain any resources from playing it. Next, there are event modes that cycle every single week. These range from first-person driving to everyone getting tiny drone cars to fight in. I only play these when I show interest in the modes they offer, and will not play these for challenges or special items. I do not have much to say about these event modes, other than not having the ability to use these in a custom lobby is kind of sad. I would love to set up red light matches with players while streaming, but that is not an option. Finally, they just added a mode into Crossout along with mech builds and helicopter builds. In this mode, you have unlimited lives. It is a classic team deathmatch style while having elements of kill confirm from Call of Duty. This is the only mode that allows mechs and helicopters besides patrol. A lot of people have been asking for a mode just like this one, but the amount of players that actually play this mode is few. Matches seem to last a bit longer than normal missions, but this mode makes you rethink the traditional way of building, which is cool. I would like to see the ability to maybe choose where you spawn on the map after you die, or maybe the ability to have a build roster and you get to change your build mid-match to counter enemy builds better. But we got what we got. Crossout gives you a slew of challenges. Some of them have to be completed in a day, while others give you an entire week to complete them. I remember grinding every single week for these challenges and how boring it was. This is not very good for new players, as the rewards do add up but are minuscule day by day. It could take months to get the amount of coins to buy one of the weapons that you desire. Also, most veteran players are also doing these challenges, so new players will never hypothetically catch up to them without paying actual money. The Season Pass allows you to pay money to unlock many more prizes from that season, but you have to grind through the levels to unlock them, or you have to buy the levels. A new player could benefit greatly from maxing out the Season Pass, but they will either be paying real money or grinding to unlock everything. The Season Pass was not always available in Crossout, and the quality of the Season Pass has dropped throughout the years. On top of a season pass that lasts a quarter of a year, they release monthly mini passes as well. I find these to be beneficial to the players that play the weapon types that are being rewarded, but not worth the hassle to finish if you don't plan on paying. The main battle pass comes with building parts that players can unlock regardless if they bought the pass or not. These parts are a limited time and can be purchased after the season ends with a large amount of in-game currency via the badge exchange. There are 335 parts in the badge exchange as of writing this. At 300 badges per part, that is over 100,000 badges needed to unlock all of the parts. Players typically earn around 1,100 badges from weekly challenges. This means that if you want every single part and you are not part of a clan, it will take you 1.5 to 2 years to unlock everything from the badge exchange, casually playing weeklies and getting all of the challenges. Doing clan challenges will reduce that drastically, but you will need to grind with a clan for those badges. The passes have gone from extremely beneficial to new and old players to making them grind whenever they come out to get the newest items. For example, when the passes first started, they gave everyone blueprints for the new weapons that did not expire. They have since changed that to have them expire once the pass is up. They also used to offer you more resources to craft legendary, epic, and special parts in the past. They have since reduced the amount that you get for those who pay and for those who don't pay. The mini pass has also gotten less lucrative for all players, but I ignore those for the most part, so I will not be going over how they have changed over time. Just know that now the passes are not nearly worth the grind anymore for new and old players alike. They currently have frame parts in the Battle Pass, which is a basic foundation part for building a car. The community has asked for 1x5 to 4x5 frames for years now, and instead of having you unlock them in the engineers, which they did for the 1x6 to 4x6 when those came out, you now have to be there for the Battle Pass if you want those parts. These are anti-player and anti-consumer practices, and they need to stop. When you first start playing Crossout, your build will be extremely underpowered with basic parts. Your options are limited to patrol and easy raids, so you have to play against a few bots or against newer players for the first 30 levels. This is great for new players, so that they are not outmatched until they reach level 30. Once they reach level 30, you are allowed to match with older players, and these matches are based on your car's power score. As you get higher grade weapons and modules, your power score will go up. So someone with really good weapons can forego armor to lower their power score so that they do a lot more damage but at the cost of their own health. I really like this system when you get paired with the power score range that you are in. A lot of people call this seal clubbing. Well, I view it more as a very high risk, very high reward play style. Since there are people who live in the lower power score range, they know full and well to aim for your lower tier cabin instead of your higher tier weapons. I found the best builds for the sub 6k power score range are the builds that do not use legendary parts, but have a mix of epic and below. I like the freedom that this system allows and would hate a system that forbids higher tier weapons at lower power scores. The grind is very long and very slow. It takes weeks to get to level 30, even while grinding daily. You can use flags to help increase the amount of experience you get, but those will cost you resources. During this time, if you do some retrospecting and find that this game is way too much of a grind and you aren't having that much fun, chances are that you won't be having fun once you get up to the higher tier players. All of that being said, if someone really enjoys this game, plays the market a little bit, and finds a nice clan to help them complete clan challenges, they can get a higher tier weapon and start clan wars within a couple of months to a year. Reduce that time if they decide to pay money. The market is open to anyone who verifies their account and allows you to buy or sell a majority of the parts in the game for a minimum and maximum price. The game takes a 10% tax for everything that is bought. This 10% seems like nothing till you get to the more expensive higher tier items. Each item has a minimum sell rate as well as a maximum, meaning that you cannot put something on the market for way more than what the community has decided it is worth. The minimum and maximum are decided based on the average prices that are sold on the market, and it is manipulated by the devs when it needs to be. There are ways to make money off of the market. Since the game is constantly changing its meta and mechanics, it is very easy to buy parts that are considered weak and wait till they get a buff and the market price goes up. But doing this can be considered very risky. There are a lot of limitations in this game. Some make a little bit of sense while others are just downright stupid. For example, the market only allows you to put 20 items up for buying or selling at a time, which is an extremely low limitation. A limitation of 100 items would make much more sense, as anyone can simply add more items once one of them has sold. There is also a time delay whenever you put something on the market based on the item's tier. Plus, your inventory has a part limit that you can go over, but you won't be allowed to queue up for missions if your inventory is too high. You can upgrade the amount of parts that you have through crafting storage space, which gradually requires more and more storage space as you craft them. So the first time you expand, it costs you a single storage blueprint. The 7th time that you upgrade, it will cost you 2 of them instead of only 1. This gets as high as 6 modules needed to craft a single storage expansion. This is extremely wasteful, as I should be able to get as many parts as I want, especially if I'm paying for them. You should not have to pay more just to have more items. That's absurd and limits the amount of items the player wants to buy. The same can be said about blueprint slots. These are what you use to save your creations. You are limited to only a handful at the start, and they gradually require more as you unlock them, just like the storage slots. This limitation actually makes a bit of sense as opposed to the storage space, as I am sure that saving every location of every single part you place down isn't much storage, but it adds up quickly when you have thousands of players. Still, you should not have to pay in-game money due to IRL limitations. It would make much more sense to give all players 60 from the start, which would be plenty of slots for any builder at any tier in their Crossout career. Instead, this just creates another unneeded limitation for the player. There are limitations and speed bumps everywhere in this game, and here are a couple just to illustrate my point. Number 1, you are limited to how many items that you can craft in a faction unless you pay. Number 2, you are limited to how many resources you can grind in the game per week. Number 3, you are limited to how much extra experience you get per day. And number 4, you are limited to how many of a certain type of module you can put on your build at one time. Those are just some of the limitations that they have on players progressing, and practically all of them are anti-player. They may have some reasons for implementing these limitations, but the poor execution of them is infuriating at best. Throughout the years, Gaijin, the company who owns and runs Crossout, has partaken in some dodgy business practices. We will briefly be going over a couple of them in this chapter without getting into too much detail. Number 1, they limit which players that you can buy gifts for on their website, stating that they need to have the same currency as your country to receive your gift. Yet in multiple circumstances, it still gives that error, even if they live within 400 miles of you in the exact same country. Number 2, they have a partnership program for content creators. Partners get promo accounts, which have everything unlocked for them to experiment with. They have to meet a minimum criteria of viewers and followers to even apply. But even when you meet the requirements, you will not be accepted. To become a partner, you need to have other partners push for you to be a partner. Partnership can and will be revoked from you for whatever reason they decide. This is not a partnership. This is making content for them the way that they like, for a promo account. Number 3, they have teased crossplay for years. Currently, console players can play with each other, but are unable to add or message each other. The markets are separate on all platforms due to the varying prices. They have made many announcements saying that crossplay is coming soon, then implement a fraction of what they promise. They are not at all invested in making this game crossplay. If they did, we would still be hearing updates about it coming soon. That, or it would have been implemented a long time ago. Number 4, they have been accused of shadow patching weapons soon after they came out. There is no definitive proof that this is the case, but there is definitely some fishy things going on whenever they release a new OP weapon. Number 5, they have been accused of fixed matchmaking, putting players in lower tier teams when they have just a couple more wins for a challenge to be complete. Once again, there is no evidence of this, only speculation. Finally, number 6. Why in the hell did they change the scroll bar? Nobody complained about the old one, and the new one is like 2 pixels wide. This has got to be the worst developer decision I have seen throughout my years as a player. Please, Gaijin, change this back immediately. In the end, if I was to rate this game, number 1 being unplayable or extremely insulting to the player's intelligence, and number 10 being a hypothetical perfect game, I would rate this game a lower 5 out of 10. The gameplay and mechanics of having the parts fall off as they take damage is extremely addicting and tons of fun. The anti-consumer business practices and constant decrease in worthwhile battle passes is getting old though. If this game was $40 and had everything unlockable with no battle passes and no new changes to the meta, this game would easily be a higher 7 to 8 for me. Crossout is not made for the player to enjoy though. It is made for the player to feel the need to pay more to eventually have fun. Thank you all so much for watching. I am trying to make more review content just like this, so please don't forget to subscribe and like, as that is the best way to show me that you are enjoying this and you want more. Please don't forget to comment if you feel I have left anything out. We have a Patreon page. If you feel like supporting even more, Patreon subscribers get special perks and secrets of the channel. All proceeds go toward giveaways for you guys on Twitch. We stream all the time, so don't forget to follow us on Twitch. I would love to meet each and every one of you in my chat. Keep on being your best and striving for a better tomorrow, folks.